Welcome back to our channel, and today we're going to do a post-fight review. You're joined by myself and Frankie Gibson. How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good. Quite happy with. Well, I say happy. It was a decent night last night. Nothing to blow your socks off, as you would say. But then we've got the treat next week, so it's always the way, you know. But
I feel
all
like we
round,
have to
good night of fights.
earn our way up to 259. I feel like there's so
Yeah, yeah.
much on that card next week. We have to put in a bit of groundwork. And it wasn't the worst card. It wasn't the worst card.
No, a little appetizer from Uncle Dana never goes amiss. He knows how to play it. He'll slap a nice little promo on that card.
Yeah,
And
100%.
like, they've got me. Take my money. Take my money.
Talk us through the main
Well,
fight.
the main event. As you probably saw on our Instagram, if you're not following us, what are you doing? I boldly predicted that the judges aren't going to be needed in this fight, and I was completely wrong. In terms of like expectations to reality, a little bit of a disappointment. It was a good fight, but I put it on Rozentruik, really. Gane was doing what he does, right? He was playing that game kind of outside and getting away with the fight, so why risk it for the biscuit against a powerful knockout artist when you're running away with the fight and you're in control? So I think it was I know Dana wasn't happy with the performance. He said it's Gane's coming out party and he kind of spoiled it. But yeah, what did you think?
I thought firstly the onus was on Rozentruik to initiate more in the fight. I thought if both things played out, if Gane sort of ran his fight, which he did in the end, that was how it was going to play out. And I think Rozentruik sort of knew that. So I think the impetus was more on him to be a little bit more aggressive, maybe take a slight chance. You have to think as well, is when you put about some statistics we sort of spoke about the other day, that was Rozentruik's 98th professional fight, including his kickboxing career. And that was Gane's 14th or 15th, technically, including some of his Muay Thai fights. And you had a look, I just thought he controlled the pace of the fight, the distance, the range. I think it wasn't a very exciting fight, but I think it was pretty comprehensive. I think he nullified any attacks he had. He showed good throws, he showed good groundwork, he showed good striking. I thought it was a good performance. I don't think it was an exciting performance, but I thought it was good.
Yeah, it kind of draws the argument, like some people try and put on a show, some people do what they need to win, but it's always tough when someone doesn't put on a performance and the boss man, Uncle Dana, doesn't approve it. But he did win. So in terms of what's next to him, I'd love to get your thoughts. But personally, I think for Gane, a great fight for him would be Volkov. Both coming off wins. He likes to play that long, rangy, strikey game. Volkov is a long, rangy striker, so I think he would bring a fight out of him, you know. He'd put it on him and then make him fight.
So I was having a look at.
What do you think?
Yeah, well, I was having a look at the sort of. It's an interesting division this year. The heavyweight division is. There's a lot going on. You've got Gane sitting at 7, as things stand. You've got over him at 6. Yeah. I don't think there's going to be a fight there. I don't think we're going to see maybe over him again. You've got Volkov at 5. Which, like you said, I think stylistically is a very, very nice fight. After that, the only real people that there are to fight above him are Derek Lewis, obviously, and Curtis Blades. I don't think Curtis Blades is going to... When you listen to Gane, all his interviews, he just wants as many fights as possible. He said he'll take them on any notice and he'll fight anyone. So I don't think he's going to want to wait out for Blades, because I think it's going to take him a while to sort of almost recover back from that last fight. And I was just going to say, I think with Stipe and Ngannou obviously fighting for the title there, I think John Jones comes in and fights the winner. I think that just makes Derek Lewis too inactive for too long, which he doesn't want to do. So I think could even see again maybe a Derek Lewis and a Gane, but I think I like that fight. It's quite similar to the one we've just had, though. I'm not saying it will play out the same. Do you know what I mean? I think stylistically it's just very exactly. Sure. So I think you're right. I think Volkov's probably the most exciting fight in that heavyweight division at the moment for him.
2 rangy strikers. I don't want to say it, but someone's getting knocked out. It's not going the distance. Classic. It's actually classic.
We're just speaking opposites, and then hopefully we're We'll be all right. I think the thing with what I was certainly thinking as well, and I've got better at this. I have definitely got better at this. I think it's easy sometimes to watch it as a neutral, as a fan, and just expect, especially when it's a heavyweight division, you just want straight 5 rounds of just heavy banging. But you have to appreciate, firstly, that's not everyone's game. And second of all, they're going out there with strategies and actually their careers on the line. So I think God
and their health.
That as well. Do you know what I mean?
It's not conducive of longevity, scrapping all the time.
100%. So I think Gane just showed a bit of guile. I think he looked quite good. Again, it wasn't exciting, but
I would have liked to have seen him sit down a bit more in his shots. Not even look for the finish really, because I feel like they're always looking for the finish. You know, he was throwing heavy, but it was just a little bit more of that killer instinct. And even from Rozentruik as well, I think he could have bit down on the mouthpiece a bit, gone, fuck it, like I'm either gonna win this fight or I'm not. I'm definitely not winning the decision. But again, it's easy for us to say, sat here talking about it. If I was in there with him, I'd probably not sit down, bite down on my mouthpiece, but
bite down mouthpiece, jumped over here, come run out. I'm down. I'm hugging Dana. I'm hugging Daddy Dana.
Yeah.
But it is the case of that, isn't it? Like, you looked at that fight. The corner said it, and he knew he was down. He knew he was down the entire fight. It wasn't a comprehensive win, but he lost every round near enough. Yeah. So it was one of them things you did sort of want to see a bit more fight in that 5th round, but it's easier said than done. And he moved so well. So although it may have looked easy for us to say, let's see a bit more aggression, but he just moves very well. He manages range so well. Like, he's in and he's out so quick.
Yeah, and for someone that's come from a Muay Thai background, that's not typical of how they fight. I really like his style. I really, really do. But it's interesting. It is interesting. He doesn't move like a heavyweight at all.
On his toes so quick. He's 3 years in the game. 3 years. So he's a scary prospect. So I think you're right there. I think Volkov stylistically is a very nice fight, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Derek Lewis and Gane as well, which could be. It poses a similar fight to the Curtis Blades fight. It poses a very, very similar fight. But
it's beautiful.
It's an interesting one. It's
so the co-main event, I'm going to butcher these names. Do you want to take the names? Ankalaev?
I think it's Ankalaev.
Ankalaev.
We'll get better at these.
Krylov. I do know these fighters. I'm just terrible with names. But again, 3-rounder decision. Could have gone either way, really. Really could have gone either way. I think, again, it probably wasn't the most exciting fight in the world, but people doing what they need to win, you know? What did you think?
I like Ankalaev. I think as well is when he's got a good win streak, and I was just listening to him about his loss, and he was sort of saying how it changed him as a sort of fighter and how it's more impactful than his sort of 5 win streak, and he's just well rounded. Like, he's very, very well rounded in that division. He's on. I think he's on a 5 win streak, I want to say.
Yeah.
I'm
Dagestani as well,
yeah, I'm going to need to get up because that will annoy me if I get that wrong.
The Dagestanis are taking over, man. Like, you even see people like, they're not all just wrestlers now. Like someone like Zabit, who's just mixes it up. Or I don't know if you've seen Umar Nurmagomedov.
Mm-hmm.
His kicks. Yeah. He's just like, he's nothing like Khabib. Like, his kicks are just crazy. Like, he'll throw like a lead leg question mark that's just slick as fuck.
They're just so well rounded.
Yeah.
Just poses so many questions.
Yeah. The Dagestanis are taking over full show.
But you have to think as well, that light heavyweight division is, it's somewhat vacant. So it could be a busy year for him. I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw him with a title shot very, very soon. Ankalaev, he's a good fighter. He's a well-rounded fighter.
Yeah, he'll get back in there. And
he's doing everything he needs to do. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't the most exciting fight. It was a good fight. It wasn't the most dominant fight, but a win's a win.
Yeah, you got to win against a tough opponent. Exactly. Speaking of tough opponents, this was Hernandez versus Moises. This was actually a really good fight. I really like this matchup. I really, really enjoyed this fight. Both pretty evenly matched. Moises ran away with it a little bit at the end. I thought Hernandez was younger than that as well. He's 28. I thought he was like 25, 26. But
He got a baby face.
yeah, he looks young, but he's sharp. But Moises just looked good. He just looked good defensively, as we spoke about. Solid. That's not often something you see typically in MMA. Really good defense.
I think when I was watching it, what sort of stood out for me, I think Hernandez had a very fast start offensively. Yeah. I don't think Moisey had a bad start. I think where he was just picking his reads and he was taking a while to adjust. I think it may have looked more one-sided than it was because his defense was so solid. And it's like what you said, it's not often you say that because it's not often that you pick up on that, but it was very, very good. Hernandez was quick. He just looked polished. His striking looked quick.
Yeah, he's sharp.
So calm in the pocket. Like he would just stay there. His movement was good. He didn't get panicked, didn't get rushed out, especially in the sort of the first early rounds. But it was like what you said, the Moise. I can't stop saying Moisey as well. As when I was just watching his Moise. That's all because I've got it on my notes as well. That's all I got with Moise. But he had a couple of things. He wasn't just his defenses. He went up top 5 times. He landed 5 very, very nice head kicks, and they especially came towards the end as well. And I thought they were going to knock him out, to be perfectly honest.
He landed a nice wheel kick as well. He was sharp. His output and his cardio, like he looked strong. Like he could have gone another 2 rounds.
I think where he sort of he won it in the end is as the round sort of went on, he was quite happy to stand within range because his defense was so good.
Yeah.
He was happy to stand there. He sort of knew there wasn't not a lot coming back, but there was nothing he was worried about coming back. So
he's so confident in his defensive abilities. Exactly. And it's tiring if you keep missing. That tires you if you keep missing. It's not only tiring, but it's demoralising and annoying. And Hernandez he wasn't this fight quite an emotional fighter, but he did a good job of like not getting frustrated and just like fucking throwing hell to leather, you know. So he's got like still a bright future. Fucking sharp. It was just Moises night defensively. He was, you know.
It was one of them losses that when you watch the fight, you lose, but you haven't like had a very convincing loss. You haven't been knocked out. You haven't been dominated, anything like that. You had your
moments. You had your moments.
The one bit I did laugh. I think it was after round 2. Yeah, it was. It was at the end of the round 2, and that's when Moise was just like pointing to the middle of the canvas, and he was just saying, let's trade. And I could just get a sense of like he was getting his rhythm, like he was just getting his confidence. And then that's when we saw it in that last round. And he was just pointing and shouting at him. And I don't even feel like, when I was watching it, it didn't feel like an arrogance thing. It didn't feel like anything like that. It just felt like he was so in the zone.
He's just on.
He was just on. And he was just in, and he was in that mindset. And I genuinely did believe as well when he was just shouting at the other person, shouting at Hernandez. I genuinely thought like, he will eat anything, and he did eat a couple of big right hands at the end. But he was just in. I don't think you could have knocked him out at the end anyway.
No, just adrenaline firing. Yeah, some you see it. Some fights it's just on. Some nights, you know, Max Holloway, Kelvin Kattar.
Yeah, my first one.
That's like the example you go to when someone's just on.
Max Holloway, it literally is, and it will be as well for so many years as well. I'm trying to think of some more convincing off the top of my head, but I guess that Anderson Silva,
maybe like McGregor versus Alvarez.
Got Adesanya a couple of times.
Yeah, there's been some GOAT performances. Speaking of non-GOAT performances, we actually had a draw on this card, which we'll just quickly. So De La Rosa versus Silva. So it was a good fight. Silva won, but she got a point deducted because she legit held defense to stop a takedown, which you can't do.
It was clear. It wasn't a finger in the fence. It wasn't a slight just... You see it a lot. You see the things that are toes in the fence a lot, but a couple of shouts or they just slap it down and that's done. But she literally did catch the fence, stop the takedown. It was... I haven't actually seen that in a while.
Cool. I do think sometimes, though, that might be somewhat instinctive. I know, obviously, they 100%. Train a lot, but if you don't train with a cage and like someone's just taking you down, like everything in your body, you just don't want to get like... You
have to think, no matter how many times you train, no matter what you do, when you're in that octagon, you have who comparatively for you is just a monster trying to bash your face in, and you're falling to the canvas, you don't instinctively just drop like closed-handed like that. Like you're trying to just grab onto anything. So
we're all human. We're all
exactly.
Human.
So it's one of them. It's hard to say to them. You'd never sort of say to them, "Oh, it's cheating," or "It's awful," because it's hard to call that out. Because how many people do that intentionally? Yeah. I don't know. Only they'd be able to tell us. But yeah.
So we had 2 more fights as well. Alexis Davis versus Marzo. Decent fight. Alexis Davis actually has a win over Nunes back in the day, but she just imposed her will.
That's impressive, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a stat that you walk around with pride. Potentially one of the best pound for pound fighters of all time. Dub.
Yeah, back in like 2011, but a dub's a dub. Believe me, if I had a win over Nunes, it could be as she come out of the womb, I'd claim it.
You'd know about that. The one thing I wrote about Alexa Davis is some of the low kicks.
Yeah.
And the size, when you look at the size of her calves, they were just, I was just watching these leg kicks just getting peppered, and they were saying on the commentary, and they were saying on the commentary, and it's so true, especially with leg kicks. Sometimes you hear that slap, and it sounds good, but it's not necessarily the most force. It's when
if you hit with a foot,
you hear that just thud, and it doesn't sort of ricochet noise. It just, and I was just listening to them. I was like cringing at home, but her calves
thud is
like,
the perfect word.
Thud is that, isn't it? It's just, but her calves were like that. She's gonna wake up. She's gonna wake up sore tomorrow. The other girl.
What other fight? We had Ronnie Lawrence versus Vince.
Because like we said, we wasn't going to go through all of the fights, but I had a couple of shout-out performances, just a couple of fighters to go through, and Ronnie Lawrence was top of this list, definitely by far. He actually got performance of the night anyway, so he picked up the...
That's big. UFC debut, I believe.
Because he was actually the only fighter on the card to get a stoppage.
Finish,
no stoppage yesterday. But that wasn't why he got it either, by the way. Well, not just for that anyway. He looked polished. He looked
sharp.
He looked just very, very overall good. His transitions on the canvas were so good, but they were also so good on the feet as well. He had everything, and the finish was beautiful. He had the spinning kick, then he had the low calf kick, which just chopped him down, and the ground and pound. It was clinical.
He couldn't miss.
It was clinical.
It was a good performance. He's nice as well. 135. That's some. I don't know if he'll go ranked just yet, but like one to look out for sure.
The interesting thing about him, though, which you do always sort of like to see this somewhat, is I was watching his post-fight interview, and did you see it? Did you manage to see his post-fight interview?
What did he say? I did see it, but
he was it was Felder interviewing him, and he was just saying like, "Oh, what an impressive fight! Like, you looked so good, you looked so well rounded." Like he did. He just looked very, very fluid. Is the best way of sort of describing his game, and he was just fuming. He wasn't happy whatsoever. He just thought it was a very, very bleak. Well, he didn't use the word bleak, but basically did. Performance. He just said he wasn't feeling very good, wasn't feeling very sharp, didn't demonstrate the skills he wanted to demonstrate. And at the start, I sort of was looking at it thinking, is he being
having a laugh?
Yeah, is he joking? Is he being arrogant? Like, I was trying to figure it out, and I was looking at him. He was just stone cold, being deadly serious. He was just, I didn't show what I wanted to show.
Fair enough.
I was like, fair play. I was like, that's a scary prospect.
That is a sign of greatness sometimes. Like when Adesanya finished Rob Wilkinson on his debut, he was like, So, like, he's got more to offer.
I don't know what that was. I started doing it. I was like looking at it. I started moving with it. I was like, nah.
You felt it. You went with it.
I was riding it.
Riding that bad boy. Yeah, so overall, good card, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, decent. It's how I describe it. Decent. I give that a solid 7 out of 10.
I think it's fair. I think it's about fair. 7. I've got two more shout outs. Just off of the fights. That Caceres, I was pretty impressed with him. I was actually very impressed with him. I think it wasn't neutrally the most exciting fight, but he stuffed like 16 takedowns.
Fight is grueling as well. Like that is grueling pace.
So firstly, to do that is impressive. That's impressive to take the takedowns. And then the way that just drains the gas tank anyway, with stuffing 16 takedowns. And he has this approach. His name's just dropped out my mind. Who was he fighting?
Caceres.
Not Caceres, the fellow who was fighting.
Happiest guy in MMA.
Happiest guy in MMA. His name's literally slipped my mind. But anyway, he has that very much that zombie approach of just walking you down, putting his weight on you, trying for takedowns. But I think he just defended it so well. Defended all the takedowns when it was on the feet. He pieced him up. He took his opportunities. He actually posed more of a threat on the canvas. He had a couple of submission attempts, which he was close with. I think it was the triangle when he locked in. Yeah. I think he said his head just popped out of the...
Kevin Kroom,
that's it. Literally just slipped my mind. But yeah, it was a very well-rounded fight. And like you said, it's just difficult. Like, you don't want to come up against someone that's doing that for the whole time.
Because
it disrupts your groove of the fight.
Especially as a rhythm, rangy striker, you know.
I will say he ate some shots at the end of it as well. He was just... He had a chin, don't get me wrong.
Never disheartened. Never once.
It comes to a point where it was like almost a bit like you are a walking punch bag at the moment because
you're out on your feet.
He was getting lit up. But yeah, that was the I was quite impressed with that performance, and the Munoz Rivera fight was a very...
I even got that on our notes.
Yeah.
Why is that not even on here?
That got fight of the night as well. So that
rightly so.
Yeah.
Rightly so. Yeah, that's a scrap. I love that fight. It's not even on... I've looked on the UFC thing to recap. It's not even on there. That's weird. But yeah, that was a great fight. That was proper scrap. Easily fight of the night. They were just trading fight. They've fought before, which is always interesting as well.
So this is the thing. I think they're definitely running it back, 100%. I think they're going for a trilogy on that. There's just two very, very good fights that it just doesn't make sense not to go back on.
Yeah, I'm down. Take my money.
Exactly. And I think they're even maybe looking at making that 5-round as well, which is exciting. Which is very, very exciting, because any card, no matter what it is, if you've got two names like that, a scrap like you're going to get with that on it, it's instantly going to get people to watch, because
it's a bit of a story there as well, you know. Yeah,
exactly. That was a scrap. So all I've got here on my notes is just incredible first round. I remember watching it thinking, oh my goodness, like this is teeing off.
Yeah, they're throwing down bamboo stuff. No, yeah, easily fight tonight. I can't even believe I didn't have that on my notes. Great fight. You got anything else to add?
No, I think that's pretty much it. So I'll leave it to you to round off.
Yeah, so that was it for that fight night. Of course, we've got the big UFC event this weekend. So anyone that has supported any of our content so far, great. Make sure you're following us on all platforms, because it's a huge fight week. The biggest one of the year, easily. I know we're only 3 months into it, but we are going to be pumping out the content. So a lot more to tune into. Thank you for listening. Anything from you, Will?
Same thing. Watch your space. This is like you said, this is going to be one of the biggest fight weeks of UFC history. So we're going to have some content to come with
Hella content.
Above all else, if you enjoyed, drop a subscribe.
Played. I'm not editing that out.
No.
That remains.
And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Peace.